Okay. Regular meeting, Monday, May 9th, 2016. Any additions or deletions to the agenda? Hearing none, we have a motion to adopt. Councilor Corva, second by Councilor Grizzly. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. April 25th, 2016, regular council meeting minutes. Councilor Corva, second by Councilor Neary. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Presentations, delegations, and petitions. Mr. Superintendent Mark Fisher. You're here to tell us what's going on out there.
Good evening.
Dun, 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 dun.
Actually, if you look at that, I would say not much. which isn't a bad thing.
Thank you very much.
That's something to be proud of. I wish in Nanaimo we had that problem. We'll talk a bit about some of the offenses we had over the last month, or the last quarter. You'll see a couple of utter threats complaints there. One is in regards to a family dispute. We family members knew each other, and the second was in regards to a Facebook threat over social media, which we're seeing increases of across the board throughout the province, with more people on social media using that as the primary way of contact. So it's becoming a challenge for us in some cases in regards to investigations in that regard. It can be difficult. Weapons offense, although it's classified as a zone in Lanceville, it didn't actually happen in Lanceville. It happened on the reserve in Somalis. There were charges laid in that regard, and a firearm was seized. As a result, also received some media in regards to that incident. It started in Nanaimo, ended up out here. The fraud that's listed there is an online fraud generated in the USA. And then the second fraud is in regards to a fraudulently cashed child tax check. Child tax check. Easy for me to say tonight. So the parties know each other in that one. It's still under investigation. Thefts from motor vehicles. 3 of them were from unlocked vehicles. One at the school at Aspen Grove, 2 others in a residential driveway, and then 1 theft of a license plate. Continue to get hits out here and in the north end of Nanaimo in thefts from mailboxes. So the super boxes that are set up continue to be an issue for us. We've actually engaged with Canada Post investigators now on that. They were over last week, and we've got some work we're doing on that front. I can't go into a lot of details right now, but trust me that there is something we're doing specifically targeting that issue because it's becoming a growing concern, not only out here, but as well as in the city. But out here, it seems every time I come out, that seems to be the predominant crime trend that I'm here speaking to you about is theft from the mailboxes.
What are they after?
Identification, sometimes checks if they time it around social assistance time. That or ID usually. Some form of enough information in order to apply for false credit cards or other forms of ID.
Is that common in other jurisdictions as well?
Yeah.
Is it, if they ever looked at the rural versus urban or anything like that?
It's more of an urban issue usually. I find it a bit strange here, but the proximity to the larger urban center would explain some of it. But it's a huge issue already.
Is it primarily the older boxes or the new boxes?
Both. No, they'll attack. Yeah.
Details are sketchy, but I may have already won $50,000. So
Why are you here?
Go for the million.
Sketchy details. 3 other occurrences of disturbances, house party type incidents, and then one of a young person had damaged somebody's lawn, and that was dealt with without a charge to the satisfaction of those that were involved. That's essentially the highlights from the last quarter. Obviously, we're heading into the busy quarter for this area with the summers and the beaches, and our members are alive to that, as well as the fire hazard this time of year as well. How dry it is already and what we're projecting to be an issue. So those are a couple of things that are on our radar. I had a meeting with the CAO here probably about a month and a half ago. And actually discuss policing in Lanceville and some of the issues on his radar as well. So I found that very beneficial. It's always good to break bread together. So I'm open to any questions you may have. Yes.
Could you bring us up to date on the texting, the new penalties that are coming in?
Okay, I don't have all the details. I should have brought that with me. So I just got it this afternoon.
Okay.
Significant increases, though, not only to the penalties for both texting and talking on the phone for distracted driving. The province of BC announced earlier today. As well, there'll be an increase to the points that are attached to your license as well. I think they go from 3 to 4 now. And I can't, off the top of my head, actually, just let me check. I'll see if I still have it on here. I can grab it quickly. I did look at it briefly before I left. I can't remember off the top of my head.
I'll check to see if he's sending the text or not.
Yeah, I'm not driving right now. I won't take a bunch of your time, but I do have it here, so I can look at it correctly.
I was getting my driver's license under this driver's training program, and they said in San Salvador, first offense drinking driving, death by firing squad.
Really?
Little extreme, but it's one heck of a
But for the second.
On the
167 to 368, so over double.
Yeah.
Significant.
And it increases exponentially, doesn't it, with each fence?
It's been something that the chiefs of police have been lobbying for some time. There was even discussion at one point around seeing if they would change the legislation to actually seize the phones. That didn't get enough support from the chiefs to move forward.
Well, they make you walk home, or they impound the car.
So there's talk around that, discussion at the chiefs' table around impounding phones, and maybe that would start to get people's attention. And that's one of the big pushes, more so from the policing world than even government around this, and the increase in fines is, despite the fines and despite us writing amounts of tickets for those types of offenses, and then going to plenty of accidents. It's a major cause of accidents now, more so than drinking and driving and some of the other things we traditionally see in some of the serious accidents. It's distracted driving more often than not now.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, because I thought when I heard it was about distracted beyond just the phones.
It is.
Like it's like drinking coffee and
Yeah, that can count as a distracted driving offense.
yeah, if you look distracted, if you're reaching over or doing anything, it all counts. It's not just your phone.
Yeah, that's predominantly phones that need. But yeah, the
Yeah.
fine can apply to others. Or there's another charge referred to as drive without due care and intention,
Yeah.
which always was a very high fine amount,
Yes.
in around that same range of 360 to 70,
Yeah.
with more points attached to the license. So this brings that offense more in line with what we had for drive without due care and intention in the past. Similar offense.
When it comes to something like the uttering threats, the Facebook side or the online side of things, how do you deal with the jurisdictional aspect of that? Is it based on the person who is...
Usually where the person committed the offense, so whoever typed in on their keyboard and then what they did in that offense. So we would use an analogy of a much more serious analogy, obviously, but say distribution of child pornography or something like that. It's where it's distributed from that the offense is committed. The offense may be investigated in both jurisdictions. The actual charge is laid in where that message was sent.
And has there been much in the way charges laid historically on that sort of thing?
Depends on the nature of the threat. And we see it a lot in a lot of the cases. It's in people that know each other. So domestic disputes, family disputes of some sort. Not so much neighbor disputes. So you will see charges laid in those depending on the nature of the threat. It's a little easier to prove, depending on how well you can track that back and what evidence is still on the computers. And obviously a more intensive investigation takes more resources, and that we seize the technological equipment in a lot of investigations now. So we're finding a lot bigger workload on the backs of members and getting them trained to be able to have people on site that can process the information and retrieve it in a manner that's going to stand the scrutiny of the courts on digital evidence. You know, in the past we had them for, say, the homicide files and some of the child porn files and that sort of thing, whereas now the majority of our cell files, anything with threats, even some of our driving files, technology and the download of technology is a major factor in those investigations. So the volume has gone up significantly to the point where now we've had to buy additional equipment and train. You know, in the past we may have one person trained to do that type of work, or one or two people regionally. We're now looking at, I think we have 6 or 7 in the Nanaimo alone that can download information from phones and say it properly and give that evidence in court. but I remember not that long ago, probably 6 or 7 years ago, we only had 3 people in a unit in Victoria for the island to handle that type of work, whereas now we're looking at 6 here. So it gives you a sense of the scope of how much that enters into it. To all of our investigations now in driving, we'll often look at evidence to see if they were taxed. If it's a serious accident with injuries, we may look at a phone data or seizing the phone for that purpose, whereas in the past it was irrelevant. So, lots of changes on that front.
Questions, comments from the council? Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
For your update. And yeah, you did mention the road ends and the beaches and that sort of thing. It's the season.
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item, items for correspondence. The first one regarding formal referral on regional strategy and regional district forum in relation to amendment. In regards to it, basically we've received informal referrals on this in the past, and this is the formal referral after they held the public information meeting in that at the regional district. And going by memory, I think there were 4 people showed up for that one, and maybe one meeting, but there wasn't a huge turnout. Basically what it is it's to further define the idea of a major versus a minor amendment to the RGS, or the Regional Growth Strategy. So basically what they're doing is they're looking for the acceptance of the 1615.01 2016. Would council like to?
I'll move the recommendation.
Moved by Councilor Popoff, seconded by Councilor Mary. Discussion. As I said, what this does is it provides further clarification on what's considered a minor versus a major amendment to the regional growth strategy. There was some confusion created by, or some concerns created by some applications like Quality Beach a while back. So this is meant to deal with those situations. Any further discussion? None. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Second item from the regional part, from the RDN. You may recall that there was a previous bylaw amendment that came before us with regards to regional parks and trails. It proposed increases from 2016 to 2022. Basically what it was is a couple of councils, Council of Nanaimo and Council of Qualicum Beach, they didn't have an issue with the amount per se for 2016. They want a review of the amounts 2017 and further. And as a result of a delegation to the City of Nanaimo Council, City of Nanaimo Council would also like a review on how it's actually taxed. Right now, currently it's a parcel tax. Suggestions whether it should be based on assessed value or something of that nature. At the Regional District Board, there was a discussion whether to kill it, because basically what they had to do is rescind third reading, amend it, and go back and forth, and then which meant a referral back to the councils again. I found it a little strange that nobody had an issue with 2016, and the only thing that was effectively set in stone by the previous bylaw was 2016. At any time, they could amend 2017 and beyond. But the board chose to do the rescinding, amending, redo third reading, hence the referrals back to us. So what it does is it puts us in a situation where 2016 would be as we approved earlier. Do recognize that there's likely something to come forward later from the Regional District Board on 2017 to 2022. So I believe it's $14 for 2016.
So,
Moved by Councilor Popoff, seconded by Councilor Mary. Discussion. Councilor Haynes.
And this is included in our budget? Previous staff?
Yes, that's right.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Verbal updates. Councilor Gilbert.
None today, thank you.
Councilor Colson.
No problem.
Councilor Mary. Councilor Colcott.
Yeah, I've circulated a copy of the flyer for the 2016 Garden Workshop Series. That's going out to every resident in Lannisville the day after tomorrow. So you can see along the bottom there are a number of sponsors and a very good article in the local newspaper, which generated quite a few registrations for all of them. The May 21 is running slower than the 28th and 18th of June. 18th one because of the long weekend, but nonetheless, there still seems to be a lot of interest.
Okay. Councillor Hain. Report. Councillor Swing.
I guess what I have to report is I attended the BCRPA, or BC Park and Rec Association annual symposium. It's a 3-day event at the Whistler, so that was the perk when the Whistler and Anaheim was done. Lots of great topics. Really just so much to cover that I can't really do it justice, but I think what we need to continue to work on here in Lansville is trying to fill the gaps for people who we don't see out at recreational activities. So I'm trying to incorporate things. So I know at Cosson Hall we have a recent reading group added. So again, we need to try and create recreational opportunities for people who we typically don't see out gathering in recreational venues. So that was one of the things. And also the drop-off and participation of youth in recreation and sport occurring a lot earlier. Even just how few children actually meet the physical activity guidelines for activities, so it's quite alarming. But anyways, can't really give it justice here. Another thing is just to throw in some appreciation to those Lansville residents who recently wrote letters and emails to the School District 68 opposing the proposed cuts to the busing services, so that our Lansville residents rely on getting their kids to school. So again, thank you to those families that actually took the time to write those letters. That's my little update.
Thank you. For myself, I did attend the Legion in Bowser. There's a Battle of the Atlantic commemoration each year, and it rotates amongst the legions. It was in Lansville last year, it was up at Bowser this year, a week ago Sunday. It commemorates the Battle of the Atlantic, and it's attended significantly more attendance in Lansville last year compared to Bowser. And talking to some of the people, they felt it was just because of the distance side of things. But it's more additional recognition from the veteran side of things. On the school district busing aspect, I'm setting up a meeting with Steve Ray, the chair of the school district, as well as
John Lane?
the chair of the business committee. No, somebody different now. Thank you. With regards to information sharing when it comes to the school busing. Councillor Colson forwarded me an email that the parents had received on the busing. But it was more just kind of a line that there could be an effect on the CD busing as opposed to presentation-wise. Going back on the website, there was a presentation that they did back in March that if those items had been connected to that email going to the parents, I think there would have been a quicker reaction. So they're open with respect to sharing information on a more regular basis. Having said that, they are looking at ways to save money on the busing side. So when we're looking at neighborhoods, when there's developments come forward, one of the things that we should consider is the safety of the children with respect to walking to potential bus routes, as opposed to necessarily the bus routes that are there now. Interesting thing, they do have a policy, I think it's 4400P or something like that. Actually dates back to the 80s at some point. It actually speaks about a committee, including participation of municipalities in assessing the safety aspects of the transportation. So, having said that, we're also looking at upgrading that particular policy. So, it's something that will come up, hopefully a lot earlier than it did this past year. So. Okay, next item, 6B 2015 Climate Action Reporting, staff report for information. I want to highlight with respect to a specific paragraph in the staff report that the district achieved carbon neutrality for 2015 because of our participation in the organic waste collection program, and that the RDN assigns the district our share of the greenhouse gas emissions reductions from that program.
Move receipt.
Information, Councillor Hain, seconded by Councillor Colclough. Any discussion, questions? Councillor Swain.
Yeah, through the chair to staff, under the background, it does say that the district is eligible to receive a grant. Has the district in fact applied for this grant? Because I was trying to search for it throughout the report, and the supporting documentation throughout see whether or not the district has, or if it's even worthwhile to this, or, to pursue it.
Your worship, this is kind of the inherent problem with this matter with the grant, quote unquote, is we're compelled to do the GHG emissions. Through that, they give us a rebate or a deduction, what have you, which comes in about $800 to $900. So it essentially accounts for all the staff time we put in to actually dealing with it. In saying that, what we know now is that the GHG is actually going to be used to put up against grants. So if municipalities don't comply with it, it can actually impact the bigger part of the grants down the road. So to answer your question, we haven't got any money yet, but we are eligible for X amount of money.
For a rebate.
And we will get it. Yeah. I got to do the task.
Any further from council? Hearing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Parks and Rec Commission, March 24th and April 28th meeting minutes and recommendation. First, I guess we should receive the minutes.
For the seat.
By Councilor Hincks, second by Councilor Colclough. Discussion on the minutes. Hearing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. There is a recommendation coming out of the minutes themselves. Councilor Mary, do you wish to speak to it?
Sure. I'll move the recommendation that council approves the J Hoots concept plan as presented for the Rotary Park mountain bike circuit and authorises staff to proceed with the contract with Hoots Bicycle Accessories Limited for construction as outlined in the J Hoots proposal in the amount of $32,000, and further that staff implement a communication plan for the project. And I so move.
Second by Councilor Colclough. Discussion.
Well, speaking to it, if you look at your agenda package, there is an email that outlines basically what was being proposed by J Hoots. It's actually to Mrs. Spears, and there is, it's not very pretty. I've got a colour one, if anyone wants to see the next colour version. But there's a diagram of what the concept would look like. This concept is smaller than was initially anticipated because, as often is the case, the budget dictates what you can afford. But it's quite exciting because it provides for the feedback that we received at the public open house. It's a pump track, and if this is approved today, there is a very good chance, according to our friend Mr. Spears over there, that this will be completed this summer. So,
Through you, Worship, just a question regarding this new plan. I don't think I've missed the vote on this, but has there been a second town hall to present this to the community and or to the neighborhood to see if this in fact meets expectations?
no, there has not.
Is there plans of such a town hall?
At this point, no, there is not. And speaking to that, the reason would be that A, this does reflect the input that was received. B, in order to build that route, the Parks and Rec Commission decided that since it actually meets what was outlined in the meeting, that it is what was requested as part of the feedback, to go back and consult on it again. The question is, to what degree would it change? If it was to change, it would have to go back to the design process, which would basically take it off the table for this year, because the window of opportunity for getting this project underway is to do so in the spring and over the summer.
Yeah, just a follow-up to that. My only concern is, I think the pump track looks awesome. It was just Councilor Gusselbrock had a recommendation to fence in that ball court and turn it into maybe, put another hoop in. I don't know if actually is two hoops or not, but just to fence it in, and then like other parks have, like you can have hockey nets or something in there, just to kind of diversify, that. I think just painting lines on there, I understand they're trying to use the space, but I think I struggle with that piece of it. But just general comment. But yeah, I don't want to see any further delays to this. It needs to happen, and we have to move ahead with it just the way it is, and I'm prepared to do so. It'd be nice to, make better use of that basketball court. And I did really like Councilor Kelsey-Brack's idea of fencing it in. I don't think that would cause any undue delay, and nor do I want to micromanage this project.
Yeah, I like it the way it is. I leave it the way it is. You can always add a fence later if that's needed for the basketball court. I worry more about the safety issue if you put a fence around that court so close to the track. So that's something you can certainly look at. My question is more about, is the playground still going in?
The playground is planned, yes,
Okay.
because that's been approved by council.
Yeah.
The money's been allocated, but when that will actually take place.
I just don't see it on here. I was just wondering where the playground is.
It's out of view. I think it's just not in the view because I think Mr. Spears can speak to that. I think it's just the way that it was presented by the design.
Mr. Spears?
Yeah, the bike track and the playground are two separate projects. The project for the playground equipment hasn't gone to RFP yet, so I'm still working on that.
But it's going to happen, good.
Any further from council? Hearing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you very much.
Next item on your unfinished business, Lines 1 to 9 water agreement. Myself and Mr. McRae had a discussion as to whether or not there would be a benefit to providing a presentation to the Nanaimo City Council with regards to the requested amendments to the water agreement. We came to the conclusion between the two of us that it did make sense. So I'd like to move that council authorizes Mayor Hain, accompanied by staff, to appear before the Nanaimo City Council to provide information concerning the requested amendments to the Lanceville and Nanaimo water agreement. Second by Councilor Hain. Discussion. Councilor Hain.
Well, thank you, Your Worship. I have a question around this. What kind of a presentation is anticipated? And I'm not sure whether this is the usual approach to this kind of, call it negotiation, or not. So I'm looking for some clarification on that.
Okay, first off, with regards to the information, effectively what it would be is similar to the information that we received in staff reports with regards to the reasoning and rationale behind the amendments themselves. One of the concerns is recognizing the difference in size of the organizations. While to Lanceville it's something that's this big, to City of Nanaimo councilors it's something that's this big. And so therefore, an opportunity we can provide that makes them aware of what the challenges were with the previous agreement, and therefore provide clarification and also provide them the opportunity to ask questions as opposed to delays because of it.
So, as supplementary, when is this anticipated to take place? Is it on the agenda?
The City of Nanaimo? I'm not sure if Mr. McRae has any additional information from previous discussions.
Through Your Worship, I have a meeting with Nanaimo City on Wednesday at 1:30, so I will have a better sense of what's going on after that point. Just to add a piece onto this motion, that the intent was to put it to a June council meeting for Nanaimo, so to actually have a date included. What that would accomplish a couple of things. Number one, we would have a few other pieces of the water matters dealt with the water in terms of reference and town hall meetings included and what have you. And we're able to walk in at that point and give council their, and you're absolutely right, this is not normal negotiations, but this has been done in plain sight, so we're just following the line that's been given at that point.
And just further to that, do you know whether this will actually be coming before City of Nanaimo Council with a recommendation attached from City of Nanaimo administration?
Through Your Worship, that's what I'm hoping to figure out on Wednesday.
Thank you.
Councilor Coulson.
This will be in a public component of a meeting, or?
Certainly, we have no apprehensions either way, recognizing it is their meeting. The discussions that Mr. McRae might have with Ms. Hammer might provide additional guidance on that. But certainly our expectation, my expectation is it would be a public meeting. Councillor Hain.
I think it's a good idea. I don't think it can do any harm. I think if anything, it can help maybe speed up this process. Just because there's been some confusion over the water agreement over the last number of years. So this can then allow questions to be answered right away. And, let's just get it done instead of back and forth correspondence and communication, right? Let's just put it out there, tell them what our concerns are, and hopefully have it done.
Any further discussion? Councillor Shan.
Through the chair to staff, in general, I just find this a little premature to be jumping to this at this point. Do we have any feedback from the Nanaimo City Council or the CEO that we can share that would explain why we're going ahead with this at this time?
Through your worship, the documents have been in front of council since I delivered them a few weeks ago. They are, from my understanding, aware of some of the comments. Now, I can't speak to all the councillors in Nanaimo, but I'm aware of at least one councillor that's aware of me. In regards to the prematurity question, this, I believe, as Councillor Hain has spoken to, puts the process in the forefront. It gets the documents that are already sitting in front of their administrator. It might give a bit of a kickstart to move forward, as opposed to where it sits now. We are kind of spec, as our director of public works would say, we're a flea on the back of an elephant when it comes to Nanaimo. So sometimes we need to wave our hands a bit in order to get this moving.
Councillor Colville.
Yeah, through the staff, is there an intention there that the presentation would be on the same evening that the report is before council?
Through your worship, I unfortunately have no control over that, but I would hopefully make the suggestion to Ms. Samra that both things occur in that evening, as it is a logical conclusion. I have no control over their agenda.
Councillor Geselbrecht.
Would you be inviting the honourable councillors from Nanaimo to come dip their feet in the lovely waters of Sebastian Road, or perhaps have a fine pale ale at our heritage establishment here at the Lanceville Hotel? Would that be considered cricket?
That may be looked upon as a bribe, but whatever works. Sergey, not ours. Councillor Swin.
So just to follow up, so just through your worship again to staff. So at this point, the Nanaimo Council hasn't even had this entered into their minutes essentially, or received it. Is that confirmed?
The documents have been delivered to mayor and county, or they've been delivered to their administrator. My understanding is the documents aren't from a legal counsel and have been for a little bit. Ms. Samra is aware that this council and this community is wanting to move forward on some of these issues, and she's aware that it's priority for us. However, that does not mean it's priority for the council.
Just in terms of that, Councillor Swain, I have received questions from a couple of the councillors, so they are aware of it, and they are aware of the correspondence that went with it. And one of the reasons for this is rather than kind of dealing with on a piecemeal basis questions that come up, it provides a centralized way so we get a consistent message to all members of council.
Better bring you as a bodyguard.
Any further questions? Comments? Hearing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, so related to our previous item, there's the District of Lanceville Regional Parks and Trails Parcel Tax and Assessment Roll Preparation Bylaw 56, 2007, and file number 127, 2016 for adoption.
So move to adopt.
Councillor Hain, second by Councillor Mary. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Guess that means staff can issue tax bills now.
Yes.
Okay, public participation.
I have a couple of questions. First, I wanted to make a comment about the discussion at the last council meeting on the crosswalk. And I'm really glad that you've approved it. And I would like to say hats off to Public Works for trimming the trees, because I drive that road a lot, and it's, for me as a driver, it's awesome to have those trees trimmed like they are, because you can really see now that piece of the road that Jennifer was referring to. So I'm looking forward to seeing the crosswalk in due course. Which brings me to my second comment in reference to the bike park that's going up in the Rotary Park. I live on Millard Drive, which is off Peterson Road, and Peterson Road is the main road that goes up to the Rotary Park. And one of my concerns, not that I don't have any little kids or anything that would be using the park, there's been lots of children that have moved on to Millard Drive recently, which is really wonderful to see. But my concern is Peterson Road and how there isn't more children using their bikes, etc., to get to the park. There's no shoulders on that road, and at the intersection with Peterson Road and Lanceville Road, the trees and hedges are quite close, I'm sure you're aware, to the intersection. In fact, I was walking my dog the other day, and I went to cross the crosswalk and made to turn to go into Peterson, and there was a car right there, and I almost walked into it because I couldn't see it coming across there. So I'm hoping that Public Works and Council will take into consideration trying somehow to fix that intersection. In due course, I know you can't do anything about the road itself, but the intersection there would be really great if you could trim back the trees or something in that area.
Okay, thank you. Any additional participation? Hearing none?
Can we adjourn?
No. Read your agenda. Motion to go in camera under section 91D of the community charter. Moved by Councillor Murray, second by Councillor Whitworth. Thank you. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.